Fresh off an easy winner, Dolphins-Patriots over. The always handsome, the always smiling Adam Chernoff from Angle Sports. Before we get to Thanksgiving, we're going to do rapid fire, bang, 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 and your best bet. What does Saquon Barkley have to do to win the NFL MVP?
Ooh, well, I think at a minimum, what's the record? 2105 is the rushing record? I'm putting you on the spot. I think it's 2105. He's got to get the all-time yards record for rushing, I think at a minimum. And then it's probably not as much about what he needs to do beyond that. There's probably a case of what needs to go wrong in front of him. I think the Bills and Allen have to fall off in a big way because right now this is, to me, Allen's award to lose based on the position he is in and how much he has meant so far to the Bills team. And honestly, he hasn't still done a few things that we sort of expected him to do coming into the season. So there's still maybe more upside there with Allen yet to be discovered. So I think he has to get the rushing record, and then he needs the Bills and Allen to really fall off down the stretch.
He is on pace to break the rushing record and the all-time yardage record for a single season, just total yardage. So that would certainly be something. I wanted to show you something. Pow!
Oh, boy. What are
Look
we looking
at that from the summer. Saquon, OPOY. That is one of a few tickets. That's a 20-1 shot at the Superbook. Also have some 25s on him to be the offensive player of the year. Please stay healthy. Please.
Well, he's the favorite right now, correct?
Minus 400, I saw. Yeah.
So you're feeling pretty good there.
I wouldn't show it if I felt bad.
Now, okay, so this is risky though. I mean, we're week 13 here, and you feel like it sounds like you're thinking you're across the finish line. Now I got to ask you.
Whoa, no, never said that.
You're pulling it up on the screen here, Sam. So I mean, it's not me pulling this up. This is you. You're pulling it up pretty early here.
The money has not been spent, if you're wondering.
Well, okay, so if everything goes well and we're all rooting for you, how much of this money is going to be spent at Naked City on wings?
Oh, if this hits, you and I are going to Naked City twice in August, if that happens.
That's a dangerous proposition. I mean, that's a lot of death to poultry that's going to be required to feed that sufficient needs there.
It's worth it. Let me share this and X out of this Jordan Poole update that I do not care about. 3 games on Thanksgiving. Chicago, Detroit. Let's begin there. Plow through these 3. 10.5s are disappearing, man. Those were pretty available this morning. Detroit now minus 10. Total 48.5.
Yeah, pro money from somebody that I know well on the Bears that took out the 10.5s, which is why it's down to 10 currently at the moment. Some of this being driven by uncertainty around Lions injuries. How healthy is Montgomery going to be? How healthy is Decker going to be? What's going on with Davis in the defensive backfield? Also, what's going to go on at the receiver spot with Raymond? Looks like he is very doubtful to play in this game. So again, it's the Lions dealing with injuries. It's the Bears being competitive in the division the last 2 games. Last week was maybe a little bit noisy in that, but that's kind of what's fueling this move so far with a big number being laid here by Detroit.
If Caleb can run the way Justin Fields did last year, they could certainly hang around in this game. I would argue the Bears should have won both meetings last year, but this year and last year, much different, of course. Detroit, a complete football team. I have a feeling my buddy, the bartender, is going to go Cowboys minus 3.5. I don't know why I feel that. Total 37 on the floor. Oh, brutal game. Brutal.
Not the best bet. Not going to be something that applies to the record here at 10-9, unless you're deeming this otherwise. What I will say is we're talking right now. There is a very real possibility that Drew Lock is the starter in this game for the Giants. And this is going to be a scenario where if it is in fact Lock starting off a QB injury, the Giants are certainly going to be upgraded. I think if Lock is the starter, this is a game that's going to get to 3. And what I will say is the 37's on the board. There's no way to me that a game with DeVito starting at quarterback can be priced lower or equal to a game where Lock is starting at quarterback. And so with that said, it's a pretty low risk option to put a Giants 3.5 or over 37 ticket in your pocket from the perspective of take it now, hope it's a lock start, and do something with it later. I get the impression that there's a very real chance here that we're going to get Lock starting at QB in this game. And paired with the Cowboys, who are passing a lot with rush, if that's the case, I think we see the Giants come in and this total go up.
37 will not last at Circa. That's for sure.
I don't think so.
Last game of the night, Miami, Green Bay. Green Bay holding about 3. Let's call it a juice 3 to 3.5. This total ticked from 48 to 47. Tua and Jordan Love, but the weather is certainly a factor in Lambeau.
While it's going to be cold and sand between now and kickoff, we're going to be hearing about how Tua has struggled in his career playing in cold weather 8,000 times from about 5,000 different sources. And so, I mean, that's going to be probably the biggest talking point that anybody is going to hear. The Dolphins prepared for this after the loss against the Chiefs by building out their running game and leaning on that part of their offense. If anybody is betting this game thinking that the Dolphins are not aware of this problem, the betting market is not aware of this problem, and there's not things the Dolphins are trying to do to change it, I think that's a little bit silly at this point. Now, I say all of that to get to the conclusion that, to me, this is a fair price here at 3. The Packers last week, they scored 38 points. The offense seems like it's going in the right direction. That was more about Niners' mistakes than it was the Packers breaking out and having a massive offensive performance. I still don't think we've seen the Packers play to their ceiling yet, but this is a game, again, I think it's priced right on the side, and don't let this cold weather Tua stuff influence you into making a bet that the market is certainly aware of.
10-9 with your best bets this season on Chicken Dinner. We'll go down to Sunday. You're looking at 471 Arizona and 472 Minnesota.
Well, finally above the 500 mark. Sam, we've split, I think, here on the show for about 2 months now, every single week, and last week finally broke out of it. So 11-9 cushion seems like it would be a miracle to get to. And I'm hoping that Arizona plus 3.5 is the team that realizes that. To me, the Vikings in this spot, who are upgraded a little bit after what happened last week, coming in with a little bit of noise driving this up, especially on the defensive side. It was Caleb Williams last week, who you mentioned, was able to navigate some of that pressure a little bit as the game went on. I think Murray can do that. But the weeks prior, the Vikings faced Will Levis and a Titans offensive line with a ton of issues. They faced Mac Jones and a Jags offensive line with a ton of issues. And then they faced Joe Flacco and a Colts line with a lot of issues as well. And in this spot, Arizona, heavier personnel, mobile quarterback, running the football consistently, tight ends. It's a matchup that I think bodes well for them. And it's also kind of a classic handicapping spot. 3 straight road games returning home. Lots to figure out. Thanksgiving weekend, kind of a disruption of prep for Minnesota that's not really viewed as a positive historically in the handicapping market. So to me here, Arizona plus 3.5 is the best bet of the week to hopefully get to 11-9.
Let's get it. We are thankful for you. Not sure if we're thankful for Oreo footlongs, but we can pick this conversation up next week. Thanks, pal.
Thanks, Sam. Happy Thanksgiving to you and everybody else watching.